Welcome to, or back to, Forgotten Hollywood, the channel where I take you back in time to show you the movies, shows, and actors that have faded over the years. The 60s were full of westerns. I should know. I own more than 36 western movies and TV shows on DVD. And that is still only a fraction of what's out there. As the western genre consists only of a setting and time period, these shows and movies were essentially blank canvases to create a wide variety of stories, from comedy to romance to psychological thriller. There is also the space western, but that is more of a modern invention and for another video. The TV western was particularly adaptive, as you could switch subgenres from one episode to the next. The cast of characters would be shifted from one situation to another, and it was their chemistry, not an overarching plot, that carried the show. Here is one example. The Big Valley premiered on September 15th, 1965. The show's premise was fairly standard, following a family with a ranch in California. What makes this show stand out from others like it is the character of one of the siblings. While Jarrod, Nick, Audra, and Eugene are the children of the matriarch, Victoria Barkley, Heath was not. His father was Tom Barkley, Victoria's husband, but his mother was Leah Simmons, in some episodes Leah Thompson, a poor woman from a mining camp. Not many details are given about the relationship between Tom and Leah, but it was where Brother Heath came from. Keep in mind that though the world has become more tolerant to it, in the mid-1960s there was still a stigma against children born out of wedlock. It was rare at this time to have a main character with that sort of background, yet Heath was front and center throughout most of the show's 112 episodes. The best thing about this show is how the character is introduced. Literally, in the first episode, and immediately his siblings doubt his claim to their family name. They try to quietly pay him off and tell him to leave, without even telling their mother who he claims to be. Victoria finds out regardless of their efforts, and her reaction to the revelation is truly admirable.
So, if you were my son, I would say to you, be proud. Because any son of my husband has a right to be proud. Live as he would live, fight as he would fight, and no one can deny you his birthright.
Whatever her thoughts and feelings were towards her husband, Victoria had no hard feelings towards Heath. He couldn't help the way he was born, and she understood that. More than that, she opened her home and her heart to this young man, and by the third episode, she was counting him as one of her sons.
I don't know what you have in mind, but I have 4 sons. They'll come looking for me,
sure
and they'll find me.
Matt, help the lady. Oh! Oh, Heath!
What's wrong?
Nothing.
Heath's siblings, on the other hand, took a little more convincing. They had trouble accepting that their father had stepped out on their mother, however briefly. But the family disputes were soon put aside when a friend's home was attacked, and the Barkley brothers joined with their neighbors to protect against another attack. Heath, under no obligation other than his family name, stood with the others, and his actions gained the respect of the family. There were still some remaining tensions, but they quickly passed, and Heath became a full member of the Barkley family. And they don't take kindly to people implying he's not, especially his brothers.
A member of my family is the prime witness against your son.
I thought of that, too. But it ain't as if he's a real member of the Barkley family.
Nick. Now, Jake, I'll try and overlook that remark.
As a character, Heath shows the most growth over the course of the series. Early on, he is troubled, angry, and independent. Not surprising considering the way he grew up. But that doesn't last long. He still deals with the occasional slander against his status in the family.
I gave you an order.
I take my orders from Barkley's, not from a...
Not from what?
But he is not one to complain. While no stranger to hard work, Heath did not have a background in cattle, and was instructed in the family business by his older brother Nick, with whom he had the closest relationship of his siblings. Many plots involved the two of them getting into one scrape or another, or another, or another. But I digress. Heath is charming, honest, handsome, hardworking, and it's no wonder a woman falls for him about every third episode. He fits well into the family and is quick to defend the Barkleys from all threats, both physical and emotional.
I'd do anything for you. Anything, you know that, don't you?
Heath was played by Lee Majors, who perhaps had the most successful career after the show ended. Which is interesting, as he had only 2 or 3 acting credits before being cast as Heath. Protecting the family is a common trait among the characters. The eldest brother, Jarrod, made it a profession. As a successful lawyer, his cool head and knowledge of the law came in handy, especially when his little brothers get into trouble.
I'm very sorry, Mr. Barkley. You had to make that long journey for nothing.
Risley, I didn't take this long journey for nothing. I refer you to the Federal Code, Chapter 8, Paragraph 12, Subsection 9. Any official, federal, state, or territorial, who impedes in any manner a qualified attorney in the practice of his profession is guilty of committing a crime, punishable by fine or imprisonment or both. Now, Mr. Risley, as an attorney licensed to practice law in a number of states, this one included, I don't have to ask you to see my clients, which my brothers have just become. I have an unqualified right to see them.
He is the peacemaker in the family, bringing a voice of reason to arguments, and tough as steel when defending the innocent. The character was portrayed by Richard Long, who later went on to play the male lead in The Nanny and the Professor. Tragically, Long died of heart problems in 1974. He was only 47. Second of the Barkley sons is Nick, the hot-tempered bull of the family. Nick stood in contrast to his brothers, not just because he was 2 inches taller, but because of his temperament. Both Jarrod and Heath were usually warm and friendly. Nick? Well, Nick was a bull. He was blunt, gruff, and quick to throw a punch at an insult. Though they loved him, his nature was not always endearing to his family.
Mother!
Nick, would you mind holding that down to a shout?
Well, I just wanted to know whether you got to the post office today or not.
No, I didn't, but Jarrod did.
Oh. Jarrod!
Oh, someday you're going to shatter all the windows, to say nothing of my eardrums.
He was very protective of his siblings, a trait that was not always appreciated, such as when Jarrod's life had been threatened and Nick refused to leave his office.
Sure don't make noise like they used to. I hadn't noticed.
It's a fact. It is a fact.
Well, now that's fascinating information. Nick, do you mind?
Still, his personality perfectly balances with the rest of the characters. Nick was played by Peter Breck, a working actor who did mostly guest roles in TV movies. He died in 2012 at the age of 82. Nick wasn't the only Barkley with a fiery temperament. Sister Audra deserves an honorable mention here.
Wonder what's wrong with her?
Oh, hey, Audra, what's wrong with you?
You'll find out soon enough.
What'll we find out soon enough?
I can't find the keys to the gun cabinet. Have you seen them?
Got them right here in my pocket.
Oh, may I have them, please?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Heath, I swear if I didn't know better, I'd say it seems like maybe Audra planned to shoot somebody.
Yeah.
While lacking the size and strength of her big brother, Audra was just as quick to jump to the defense of others, especially family. When she wasn't trying to shoot trespassers, she enjoyed dancing and riding. Audra was played by Linda Evans, who later went on to star in the show Dynasty, and is still acting as of last year. Interesting bit of trivia. My mother got the spelling of my name from a perfume named after Evans' character in Dynasty. So, in a way, I was named after Linda Evans. Now we come to Eugene, the forgotten Barkley. Literally. By season 2, even Victoria doesn't acknowledge having a fourth son. Gene was the youngest in the family and often away at college, only appearing in a handful of episodes. The reason he left was because of the draft. The actor playing him went into the Army halfway through the first season, and the show was forced to carry on without him. I don't have much to say about Eugene, because, honestly, I didn't think the kid added much to the dynamic of the show. His character wasn't bad, exactly, but the chemistry was just better between the older actors. Maybe I would think differently if he had been able to stick around long enough to really be fleshed out, but as it stands, I'm happy to think of the 3 Barkley brothers being Jarrod, Nick, and Heath. Eugene was played by Charles Briles, who passed away in 2016 at the age of 70. As I covered the siblings in detail, I should probably say a few more words about Victoria. A strong, capable woman, she was the undisputed head of the family. Her caring nature and strong sense of right and wrong were traits she shares with her children. And of course, the protective streak.
I'm not even sure they are after you, but I am sure my son is under that wagon, and if we don't get to him quickly, he may die. Now move!
Victoria is appropriately named as she carries herself as a queen, or at the very least a highborn lady. However, the family's fortune wasn't accumulated until well into her marriage, and, like Heath, she is no stranger to getting her hands dirty. Her disarmingly calm and sweet nature serves her well, but she knows when it's time to put that aside and put her foot down.
Get out of this house!
Oh, put down that ridiculous gun. Nick, stop shouting when I'm speaking to a guest.
No one crosses Mama Barkley. Victoria was played by Barbara Stanwyck, an award-winning actress who had a career lasting longer than 60 years. She died in 1990 at the age of 82. This cast of characters made the Big Valley what it was. 4 seasons, 112 episodes, and a lasting legacy. If you haven't seen it yet, I recommend trying it out. It really has something for everyone. Comedy, drama, even a dash of psychological thriller in a few episodes. If you do get a chance to see it, or if you already have, let me know what you think in the comments. Which character or episode is your favorite? Personally, I love the Great Safe Robbery.
Making any progress?
Classic Victoria. Thanks for watching. If you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to click the bell for notifications. Let me know if there are any other shows or actors the world has seemed to forget that deserve a spotlight, and I will catch up with you next time.